Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Her Hoop Stats podcast right here on the Her Hoop Stats podcast network. I am Christy Winter-Scott, joined by my girl, Cindy Brunson. Cindy, man, listen, it has been a topsy-turvy beginning of the women's basketball season on the collegiate level, and boy, I tell you
Mhm.
what, there have been some really great showings by some teams and some top 10 upsets in the first competitive AP poll that just came out yesterday.
100%. I love that these coaches are scheduling tough. It's iron sharpening iron from the jump, and I absolutely cannot get enough of it. Shout out to Lindsay Gottlieb and what she's going on at USC. Everybody had a question, right?
Yeah.
No Juju. What is that going to look like? And then Jazzy steps in and says, "Hey, it's okay. I got this. Let me just drop a 20 piece against a ranked NC State in their place. Woo! Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff."
I mean, and that's a top 10 team. And, coming into the season with NC State having a couple of really great back to back or back to back to back seasons down there in
Mhm.
Raleigh. But that was a huge win. And what did you see in that game from USC besides Juju going absolutely bananas over there on the sidelines, as she should? I love
Yeah,
seeing her remaining connected and involved in that spiritual way, even though she can't
yeah.
be on the floor with the team. She was definitely connected to them emotionally.
Yeah, I think London Jones looks really good in a USC uniform. I wasn't quite
Mhm.
sure how that was gonna fit because her role was so defined at UCLA, but skipping
Mhm.
across town has really made a difference because when a bucket is needed, a bucket will happen
Yeah.
because London, the cutie, as her Instagram handle lets everybody know, is there to fill it up, and she
Yeah.
is unconscious. She reminds me so much like her and Dana Evans, I feel like are cut
Absolutely.
from the same cloth. You know what I mean? They're just
Absolutely.
not great. They've been
Yeah.
diminutive their entire lives, and yet they
Mhm.
have found a way to be so productive at the highest of high levels. And I think that was one player in particular that jumped off the page for me. And then Jazzy. I mean, USC is in really good shape early in the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I think they had great spacing in that game, and that afforded them the ability to attack and dissect the defense. I mean, and it was very consistent with how they did it, and
Mhm,
it wasn't the same every time down. It's like they found a way. Whenever NC
mhm.
State did something to challenge or counter what they were doing offensively, they countered that. Like there was just like
Yeah,
a chess move every single time. So I was most impressed with the adaptability on the offensive end, even though NC State showed a little bit of change here and there defensively and tried to put
yep.
a wrinkle here or there, tried to blitz, tried to do all these things. But USC stayed consistent, like, oh, okay, you're doing that. We have three things for that. I mean, it just seemed like there was always an answer. But to your point, London Jones, London the lefty, and that early lift on that triple is like, yeah, it's a thing of beauty, right? The way that
Yes.
she executes. But I love to see a good early lift on a moon ball, and she has that. I mean, we saw that last season as well. But to your point
Mhm.
again, for her to carry her skill set and what she does well into an entirely different offense and defense, but
Yeah.
in her rhythm on the offensive side, to not miss a beat in that way speaks to her skill set. And again, the adaptability individually carrying over to the adaptability as a unified attack for USC. Most impressive for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I just
Yeah.
love all of these great games. I mean,
Yeah.
then you follow that up with
Mhm.
Oklahoma and
Oh,
UCLA, like
yeah.
ranked
Okay.
on ranked again. Just so
Yeah.
impressive early on in the season. And then you're in beautiful Stores, Connecticut, as
I
we
am.
get our first look in a new platform for the defending champion UConn Huskies.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, you're looking at a team that is just ready for it. And we've seen them, we saw them against Louisville. Louisville brought some
Mhm.
smoke in the second half and had a huge
Yep.
run, but they came back with their defensive energy and attention to detail on that side and started turning Louisville over. And that's how they overcame that run. But we've seen them start games like they did
Mhm.
in the last one with their
Yep.
defensive prowess and their ability to stop people. And I think if you flash back, I don't really like comparing men's basketball and women's basketball.
Mm.
However, this is one I'm just gonna stick a pin in because it to me early on in this season, I think it's very similar. Okay, so when Golden State won their championships when they were on that run,
Right.
I think that people saw them as, oh wow, they're just so dynamic offensively. They were the top ranked defensive team in the NBA. And people
Mhm.
don't talk about that enough. So for me, flip the page to today, okay? And UConn and their ability to defend, okay, I think is going to be what they hang their hat on, right? They don't have Paige
Yeah.
Beckers, right? Three
Mhm.
time All American. Like we
Are we
understand
sure
that.
though? 'Cause
Rookie,
she's around
rookie
a
of the
lot,
year. I mean, she's going to be in the building. She's going to be in the building, but
right?
she's not going to be suited and booted. She's not going to be suited and booted for UConn. But I mean, obviously the WNBA's Rookie of the Year with the Dallas Wings. But
Yeah.
to get their offense going, sometimes we've seen some lulls early out of the gates this season for UConn because of that, right? They're trying to
Mhm.
find, the head of the snake, if you will, in terms of
Right.
their main
Well, and that
initiator.
just shows you how much Paige did. Like
Right.
Gino said on the record, losing Paige was like losing 3 players. That's
It was.
how many cups she filled while
Yeah.
she was sleeping at UConn.
Yeah, I mean, KK Arnold is going to step into that role, right? And
Mhm.
I think it's been she had a little bit of an inconsistent sophomore campaign, if you will,
Yep.
in terms of being an initiator that way. Not an overall performance by her is what I'm speaking of, but I just think
Mhm.
as the PG1 for this UConn team, right? I think it's going to be imperative for her to be consistent in that role. And as you said, nobody's going to take the place of Paige Beckers. No one can do that. And like you said, Gina Arima said she's like replacing 3 players, and I get that too. But at the same
Mhm.
time, somebody's got to step into that role to be the initiator in the quarter court. You're not always going to have runouts, which they have had many because of their
Right.
staunch defense. They've been able to create offense on the move. But I think, when you have to come down and organize and stack possession by possession, they're going to have someone who can conduct the team in the quarter court in a
Mhm.
poised manner. And I think, she's primed for it. She's ready for it. And the keys are in her hands.
Mhm. And what a nice what a nice ride to drive, right? You get the keys, as you say, and then you look down the floor and there's Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd. I mean,
How
come
about that?
on.
Yeah. And then you have Sarah Williams, who averaged
Yes.
2 blocks a game at Wisconsin, and
Right.
she led the Big Ten in that way. But I mean, she's a walking
Mhm.
double double. So I mean,
I'll tell you
you
what,
have
when the transfer portal is assessed at the end of the
uh,
season,
say it again. Say it again.
we
Sorry.
when the transfer portal is
Yes.
assessed, like who won, who lost, graded
Uh,
out, I
yeah.
think Sarah Williams going to UConn
Yeah.
is going to be the steal of the transfer portal. That
Yeah.
is just a chef's kiss by Gino. He needed rim protection, he needed rebounding, and he is going to help her be a force come WNBA draft day, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Offense
For
is
sure.
going to expand, her range is going to extend, all of the things. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what her last season of college basketball looks like in stores.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, she shot 9% from three at Wisconsin, but they didn't need for her to do that. Okay. So
No,
let's be clear. She wasn't taking a high volume of threes, maybe on
right.
a transition triple, maybe late in the shot clock. She got a grenade and had to throw it up. That was not in her wheelhouse. So let's not
Right.
say, okay, she's shooting 9% because she was taking 10 or 12 threes a game. That was not the
Mhm.
case. But to your point, she does have to build that part of her game. And we've seen Alyssa Thomas not have to have that in her game. So it's not a
Yeah.
must do thing, but it is something that, I think a lot of players want to assess, their ability
Mhm.
to stretch the floor. Analytically, the game has changed that way. So, okay, yeah, you want to get that better, but that doesn't have to be what you change your game into, being some kind of a 3 point unicorn person.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that. And it is cute when you could do it, though. And it is very tough to
It
guard.
is cute. I like that. But what else is also very sexy about her game is she
What's
has a
that?
knack for rebounding. Like, she gets up to rebound as quick as a hiccup. Like, just
Yeah,
boom, she's on the
yeah,
rock, and
yeah.
that is what I remember calling Wisconsin games on Peacock the
Mhm.
last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
Really jumped off the page at me was just her ability to get up and not only box out, but out leap everybody around
yeah,
her. She just has a knack for rebounding the basketball.
yeah. And it's like her second jump, right?
Mhm.
I think people misjudge that because when you're down there in the scrum, sometimes it is all about the timing of when you jump and not
Yes.
necessarily how high, but how high, yes, but when you go. I think that
Mhm,
is what she has mastered so well on the glass on both sides. Like on the offensive end, she's just been a juggernaut on the O boards and those second chance opportunities. But yeah, I think that's going to be definitely something to shore up the interior for Gino Ariema and his team. And I think that, again, has really been something that has been a bright light for their squad out of the gates, right? For whatever organization they're missing on the offensive side in the quarter court from Paige Beckers, they're
mm.
getting live ball stops and they're scoring in copious amounts in pushing the tempo and getting easy money on the other end. So, I
Yeah,
mean, you have Ashlyn Shade who's out there who is a defensive, like just stalwart, and she
mhm,
gets in those passing lanes and she's taking it the other way too. So, I mean, you have the rim protectors. You have Sarah Strong, who Gino Ariema said is like Nikola Jokic. Okay. And
mm,
their numbers are very comparable in terms of
mm,
points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, very, very even. And again, there I go
mhm.
comparing, but he
No,
said
but
that. He said
that's
that.
a
He said,
that's a the Joker is somebody where you just go, "Okay, that is different."
yeah,
We just don't see that all the time. So comparing, Freakazoid to Freakazoid, I'm cool with, like, because we have to relish it and love it while we can see it,
no
because
doubt.
you just don't know in the blink of an eye, God forbid somebody gets injured or something. I mean, this
Yeah.
is you have to appreciate how special and different Sarah Strong plays.
Yeah, I mean, how about she had the second most rebounds of any freshman in UConn basketball history on the women's side? I mean, she was just a monster last season. And I heard Gino at the end of one of the games last week, and he was being interviewed post game, and he said, the difference. Somebody asked him what's the difference between Sarah Strong last year and this year, and
Yeah,
Gino said, "Hey, last year it was like, I'm here if you need me. Just tag me in, and I'll be ready." And this
right.
year she's on go. Like there's
Okay,
there's a difference that, she's come into the game like I'm here and I'm
right.
ready. And I thought that was very profound for him to evaluate it that way.
Yeah, 100%. Was second to who? Tina Charles? Stewie?
I you know what? I would say either that or Rebecca Brunson. I mean, Brunson was
Okay,
rookie of the year in the Big East, and the other rookie
okay,
was Diana Taurasi that same year, but Rebecca
okay,
Brunson got that.
okay.
It's not on my notes yet, but I will get it.
No, I know. I
But I
know
just
you will
have that
fill
she's
it in.
second. It doesn't say to whom. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it does not say who she's second to. But yeah, I mean, she has, I mean, I have it right here, like all of
Well,
her.
UConn has a half dozen number 1
Yeah.
overall WNBA draft picks, so there's a lot of names to choose from.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you're looking at a list of, if they're not already in the Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famers. I mean, come on.
Right.
And you're looking at her defense was at the top of the list in terms of her win shares on the defensive side as a
Oh,
freshman
right.
last
Yeah,
year. So that's something that she stands alone in the number one spot at. But for the boards, I have to research that. I still have time. But
yeah, yeah.
but she has, I mean, just with her numbers and just her confidence, right? Her
Mhm.
ability in the postseason last year, obviously her first postseason to win a
Right.
natty in your freshman year. I mean, that does something for your confidence, I'm sure,
Yep.
right? I mean, what are you anticipating from Sarah Strong this year in terms of that confidence from winning a title last year?
She gets it's in the genes, right? Like,
Mhm.
she has been hooping under the tutelage of great coaching her entire life. So she's built for this. It was really stunning when they raised the banner, how many years it had been. You kind of forget that other teams had kind of taken up the space while UConn was figuring out and fighting injuries and looking for that next it person. When they
Mhm.
finally got Paige on campus, then she gets hurt and they had successful seasons but just not quite because it was 2016, the end of the Stewie
Right.
four-peat,
For
and
Pete.
then yeah, then a desert, and then it was, oh, in 2025, okay, and now an opportunity to repeat. And anybody who signs up to sign on the dotted line and go to
Mhm.
UConn does so with the expectation of winning a
Right.
championship, at least one. Like, that's the bar and the standard, and I think of anybody on that roster, Sarah Strong understands that assignment and
Mhm.
wants to start building her legacy, right? She has
Yeah.
an opportunity to match what Stewie did.
Yeah.
Because we all thought, oh, there's never going to be another Stewie, right? There's no way anybody ever,
Or
ever, ever can four-peat. And
Right.
yet here this UConn machine goes. Now
Mhm.
that we've given Gino a taste, he had to wait from 2016 to 25. But
Right.
he's like, well, I'm going to stay here coaching until Sarah Strong at least graduates, right? So,
You never know.
I,
Hey,
yeah,
coach for a long
I
time,
think,
and you always want to
yeah,
see that
yeah,
class, then there's another class. Then you want to see
right.
them through too. It's just like
And they
hit a
is,
little bit of the rim and it went in, but you're gonna shoot until you get a clean
yeah,
bucket. It's
yeah,
maniacal coaching, but I love
right,
it. I miss it and I respect it.
yeah,
Because you want to see those kids through. And then the next group
yes.
you're recruiting, you want to see those kids through too. So it's
Hmm.
just hard to stop. I understand that.
For me, when I watch Sarah Strong, I think of Maya Moore. That
Okay.
special kind of
Okay.
UConn player
Yeah.
that is just built different,
Yeah.
and
Just stand
it
out.
looks
Yeah.
different, and it's, and I lean toward Maya because Maya was bulkier. Stewie was so thin when she was in college. I mean, she's still slight
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
so she just didn't it just looked silkier, where there's a strength and a little bit of menace and a little bit of mean with Sarah that I like, that reminds me a lot of Maya.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're looking at a player with such tremendous upside, and if you're not aware, I mean, her mom, Allison Feaster, played at Harvard,
Yes.
who upset Stanford as a 16 seed back in her
Mhm.
day on the collegiate level. So, like you said, I mean, she has great people in her ear who have experienced great things in the game, and she's in the front office there with the Boston Celtics currently. So you love to see
Yeah.
her staying close to the game and also close to her daughter. I'm sure she'll be at the game. But when you're looking at what UConn has been able to do, I mean, 24 Final Fours and then 12 championships, Cindy, and six of those 12 were in undefeated manner. So it's just
Mhm.
unprecedented. I mean, it's like eye popping to see those numbers jumping out at me off the page because, no one can match that. I mean, we're looking at the longevity and the consistency of excellence that UConn has
Yeah.
presented over the years. I mean, man, that's
Yeah.
just it's just really a different threshold that you're talking about that Gino Ariema and his staff
Mhm.
has tapped into, and you know, that Chris Daly, his assistant coach, she's been right next to him for all
CD.
41 seasons, and then
Yep.
a lot of the players on the team now they don't know what a CD is, right, for musical purposes, right? But they know who CD is for hoops, so that's all they need. They
Right,
have CD right there. That's okay. But
right.
I the
Are you gonna
longevity.
are you gonna school him up? Are you gonna teach him?
Hey,
Do the CD
you know,
things,
you're
give him some Columbia Music Clearinghouse instruction of how we all used to get CDs in the mail back in the day.
no, hey, I have some CDs in my car. They rotate around six CDs in there. But anyway, I mean, maybe they know what CDs are, but I mean,
Yeah.
just to have that, is someone who understands the philosophy and the culture of the program, and not
Yes.
like jumping off and then doing their own thing. Although they've had coaches go and be head coaches and then come back. Tanya
Yeah,
Cardo to say one of them, but I just think
yeah,
that
Morgan Valley is another. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, they've had opportunities because of the excellence of the culture, and they've tasted being head coaches because of it. But for Chris Daly, she's just stayed right there.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't blame her. Like,
Not bad at it
and
either.
who gets to do a job for 40 years? Like, in
I-
any profession.
That's crazy.
So,
Yeah,
and the only comp we had for Gino was Tara, and she retired.
yeah,
So the fact that what really impresses me about Gino is everything has changed in college athletics and been upended and put on its ear with
yeah,
NIL and all of the things.
yeah.
Still recruits and develops, and he's become a transfer portal ninja too. So he is really mastering
Mhm.
what used to be and what is, and he is just the gold standard of that. And then right in here's rear view mirror is Dawn Staley.
How
She's
about
got the
that?
3 national championships. I really think that she looked to stores and said, "Okay, so that's how it's done." Because Gino always said very openly, "You wanna beat me? You want this? Come get it. I'm not, there are no secrets. Come to my practice."
Yep,
His practices, as you've seen, are harder than games. So the
absolutely.
players almost get a break as they are playing a 40-minute game compared to what they go through in practice day in and day out.
That's
So a lot of coaches have followed that lead and
right.
found success doing the same thing. And I just don't know in this day and age the
Mhm.
exhaustive nature of the coaching business that
Right.
we're going to see anybody make it to 20 years, let alone 40.
It's insane. Just to look at that, I mean, he's just done such a masterful job, and we can't forget about Pat Summitt, the late, great, iconic
Oh, for
Pat
sure.
Summitt, and
Yeah.
unfortunately at the early onset of dementia and
Mhm.
Alzheimer's and things, and fortunately passed away when she was only 59 years old. And when you look at, the Tennessee Yukon matchups and the excellence that both programs brought to the game,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, just highly respectable, and you see it, and the reach back to their alums is the same.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just will never forget, playing against Tennessee with Pat Summitt standing over there with those steely blue eyes. So it's just
Yeah.
something that, will always be carved into the game. You can't speak the women's game without bringing up Pat Summitt and Gino
Mhm.
Ariema, Tara Vanderveer, and Dawn Staley right now.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
very relevant because of the seeds that were planted. And now Don Staley is right in the mix as well with those three natties. But I
Mhm.
think it's going to be really interesting with Sarah Strong coming into this season being Big East Player of the Year in the preseason and also a preseason All American, but also
Mhm.
Ace Bud, right? Gino Ariema said the other night, "Hey,
But
she's
around and find out.
she's getting success. I can't even yell at her about rebounding because man, she got some rebounds this game." So, but I love their relationship. I saw their podcast. They just have a really great banter and
Yep.
communicative way about them that is really awesome to see. But it speaks to their success on the court that they're able to
Mhm.
have the realness of the conversations that they've been able to have. But what do you see from AZ? I mean, she was MVP of the championship game last year in the Final Four
Right.
for UConn. But here we go. It's her last go round
Mhm.
here, and WNBA on the precipice of
Yep.
getting in there for her into the league. So, what do you see from AZ Fudd this season, and what does she need to be this year and this iteration of UConn hoops?
Easy needs to be what she was in the Final Four
Okay.
all season long. That needs to continue all the way to Phoenix. Because I know UConn fans may not have purchased their tickets yet for the Final Four in Phoenix here in the first week in April, but I'm sure that they have checked flights and hotels to see because
That's my
of
agent.
anything, death, taxes, and UConn Final Four, right? Like it just
Pretty cool.
all happens in that rhythm.
Yeah.
So for AZ, it's going to be just like it was for Paige last year,
Okay.
having the expectations on your shoulders,
Yeah.
knowing that you have the potential to be the number one pick if
Yep.
things shake out, and
Yep.
then also navigating the outside obligations. Gino Ariema is always talking about, I know what my kids are doing in practice, but can
Mhm.
they get to practice?
Mhm.
Because that slam photo shoot is going to take up so much time, and this commercial shoot is going to take so much time. So
Yep.
he's always on his players about navigating that sort of time management, in
Mhm.
addition to, oh, by the way, they're still student athletes. They've got to go to class. They have to get grades or they're not going to be eligible to play. So
Right.
I'm sure that she will handle all of that beautifully, but
Mhm.
that's the water she has to carry because I think for UConn to get back to a Final Four and be
Right.
in Phoenix as one of the four teams standing,
Mhm.
AZ has to produce.
Right, no doubt about it. And I mean, we were talking about Paige being injured when she first came in. You're looking at AZ, and her
Mhm.
injury riddled career, and then to come out on top last year. I mean, that just had so many levels and layers to it. It was,
Mhm.
yes, it was great, tactically speaking, basketball wise, stat wise, and all that.
Mhm.
But emotionally, wow, what a banner of persistence that was
Yes.
for her to hold in that moment because of all of the adverse injuries that she had and all of the mental hurdles that she had to jump over. And then as soon as she
Mhm.
cleared one, there was one 10 feet higher, man. I'm like, look, she just showed what it took, right? And the
Right.
mental fortitude and all the mental gymnastics that she probably had to fight through to
Mhm.
get to that level to be able to execute
Yeah.
tactically sound. I don't know. I was just super proud. And I don't know if
And she was pushing merch, right? They
you
come
said
up with the T-shirt, "Fud around and find out." Like, that exploded during the tournament and into the Final Four. Like, unbelievable.
that was
So
thing. Yeah, because Katie, her mom Katie, and her dad Tim,
Yeah,
they had that after the Final Four, and I thought it was hilarious. But
it
I mean,
was. You know,
they
I
showed
got one. Like, come
right,
on.
but they showed but they didn't. They showed that, but they didn't show like the underbelly of the struggle of what it
Right.
took to get to that point, man.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I've known them forever and ever, and Az, since she was like 3 or 4 years old,
Mhm.
So just to see her, have those big eyes as a baby girl running around, the
Mhm.
basketball is bigger than her, and she's just firing that sucker up, bang,
Mhm.
and making them. That's not. Don't sleep now. Don't get it
Yeah.
twisted. She wasn't just chucking it up. She was making shots. She was playing in the boys' leagues, when
Yep.
she was like 10, 11, and crushing them
Mhm.
to no end every single play. They were going through and to her, and she was roasting those fellas. Okay, so
Yep.
I would go early. Our team would be playing after them or something like that, and we would sit and watch the
Mhm.
second half, and she was blistering them. I mean, it was just so much fun.
Yes.
So to see her go from a middle school kid to hoisting the MVP trophy at the Final Four after all those injuries, Cindy, I don't know. There's not much that beats that. Example of persistence and will,
Mhm.
right?
And
And she definitely
and
has skill.
intestinal
Definitely.
fortitude, right? Because we all look in the mirror, we all have doubt. We all hear
Oh,
those crazy little voices, "Oh,
oh
you
no.
can't do this. You're not good enough." But to shut out that internal noise
Yeah,
and then find a way to produce, and not only produce, but lead,
yeah.
so impressive.
And kill it. I mean, she obviously has the skill, but it was the will,
Yes.
in that moment, that stood out to me. So
Mhm.
I think I agree with what you're saying about how she has to perform in that same manner as
Yeah.
she did in the Final Four and throughout last year as well. But I think
Mhm.
it's going to be really interesting to see how KK Arnold, just blends everything together.
Yep.
She's going to be like, a salad in the bowl. She's going to be the one that has to like get up underneath, get the dressing on, all of it. But she's
Okay.
got fun to lead in that way, and conduct and be composed and take care of the basketball, all those things. But I think
Yep.
it's going to be really, really interesting throughout the Big East conference, but
Mhm.
also on the national level as well.
Yeah. I mean, because the toughest challenge in conference, right, will likely come from Marquette, who's
Marquette, yeah.
picked to finish second.
Hmm.
Her hoop stats field of 68 already out.
Yeah.
Dial it up on whatever device you use and check it out. They do have two Big East teams making the tournament, and that is UConn and Marquette. I would
Right.
like to, I still think, as far, looking at the Big East and the competition that UConn will
Mhm.
face throughout the conference season, Seton Hall looks like a team that is built to make the postseason. I don't know if it's the NCAA tournament or the WBIT, but
Oh,
there's a lot of interesting pieces there. And then Creighton has been to a tournament 4 straight seasons. So
right.
I'm never counting the Blue Jays out, period, full stop.
Yeah, you cannot do that. Yeah, I mean, they play that five out. Their defense is solid, on a string, help the helpers right there at all times. Every shot's
Yeah.
contested. I mean, sometimes you're going to make those contested shots, but it's not going to be because they missed an assignment on the defensive end. They're very disciplined, and that's why they've been able to go into the postseason 4 times in a row. But I think it's going to
Yeah.
be really fun to watch. The Big East, they're going to be on TNT this year, and they're
Yeah.
also going to be on HBO Max, and they're also going to be on True TV. And
Mhm.
again, like you said, wherever you can find it, it's going to be on your iPad,
Right.
your
And they also
TV.
signed with
Yeah,
NBC Peacock,
and
which is why
Peacock,
I'm
yep,
doing Big East games. So
right?
that's where I come into the mix, and I think I have one on TNT or 2 as well. So, yeah, that was a very big initiative by Val Ackerman, the commissioner of the Big East, and shout out to her. You talk about holding it down in women's basketball for my entire lifetime. Like,
For
she had
sure.
been in the W space, she's been in the
Yep.
collegiate space,
Mhm.
and she wants every game that is played by a Big East team to be watchable some way, somehow, with relative ease.
Absolutely.
And to get all of those deals done with the various partners, because whatever isn't on Peacock, NBC, TNT, HBO Max is
Mhm.
going to be available on ESPN Plus. So
Yeah.
fans literally just
Mhm.
have to hone in and figure out which
Yeah.
service is providing, but the games will be there.
They will be on. The games are
Yeah.
on. I love it. I love it so much. But going back to Val Ackerman, I mean, she played at UVA, and
Mhm.
I just love the fact that she was the first WNBA commissioner, and
Yeah.
it so
Well,
much
at that
fun.
time, it was a president. They weren't hip to being a commissioner yet. She
Oh,
was
you're
the
right.
president.
You're
Yeah.
right. She was the leader. So in my
Yes.
eyes, she was the commish. She was the commish.
Sure,
But
sure.
she was the first one. So, I
Yes.
mean, she helped usher in the WNBA,
Mhm.
in 96 with that Olympic team and just really did a great job of marketing the
Mhm.
USA team to be able to carry that momentum and
Yeah.
leverage into the first inaugural season in 97. So, I just love that. And I love that the history is repeating itself with the Toronto team, with the WNBA women leading there, but
Oh,
we'll talk
yes.
at another time. But I just
No,
wanted to
but let's shout them out, though. That's the only franchise in the W that has a former player as both a general manager and head coach.
period.
I am Monica Rogers is
Yeah,
just the end all be all for me. I enjoyed her so much during her time in Phoenix with the Mercury. She is just one of the sharpest women, and in addition to being one of the best basketball players to
mhm,
walk the earth, I mean, honored as one of the 25 best Minnesota Lynx players, period.
yeah,
She's got the championship pedigree. And then
yeah.
to get the coach that she wanted, Sandy Brondello got offered by everybody,
She
but
did.
she
Right?
chose to work with Monica because of their relationship in Phoenix, in part, and because Monica Hooch. She knows they
Yeah.
are going to speak the same language when they are in meetings because they have been there and done that.
Yeah, another player in Monica
Mhm.
Wright, who I know her as, but
Yeah,
her married name is Rogers, but Monica
right.
Wright played at UVA and in the
Yeah,
ACC was both player of the year and defensive player of the year. So she gets it.
right?
I, I
Yep.
hate when people are saying like, "Oh, that's a two-way player." I'm like, why isn't anybody a two-way player? Like everybody needs to be a two-way player. When did that change?
Yes.
Go out there and hoop. Like if you're a hooper, then you play both sides. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what she did, and not only that, but she was MVP of the ACC and then also defensive player of the year. So, I mean, she understands the assignment of the game and, obviously won a title with the Lynx and all of those things as well. So, I mean, it's just going to be really fun to watch what the Toronto Tempo do,
Mhm.
their leadership and their investment over
Yes.
several decades in the
Mhm.
women's game. So I think it's going to be fun, especially in the WNBA. So
And we
that's definitely,
saw with the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series, it's not just Toronto's
oh
team,
no, yeah,
it's the nation's team.
how about
So
that?
all of Canada is going to support the tempo, and that is going to be top tier.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I can't wait, for the spring
Mhm.
and the WNBA draft, as we were just talking about AZ Fudge, it's gonna be probably
Yes.
everyone's list. Talking about Sandy Brondello at the top of everyone's list, AZ Fudd, definitely gonna be
Mhm.
at the top of a lot of draft lists, come the spring. But
Yep.
with the college season sitting right here, what other games I know there were some other upsets of top 10 teams. I know Baylor did their due diligence and winning against a top 10 team as well.
Yeah, the We Play series off to a fantastic start for the Big 12 conference. Baylor is so interesting to me because of their athleticism,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Starts with little page bugs. Everybody that puts on that uniform can just get in your shorts and make you wish you hadn't come to the gym. And not many teams can say that, right? Like, I
Right.
think Vic Schaefer wants Texas to be that way. And I
Yeah.
think he can count on that from Madison Booker and Rory Harmon. But he's got the new player in Brea Cunningham
Right.
who just has foul trouble problems. Like she had trouble staying on the floor at Arizona,
Right.
and she's already run into a little bit of foul trouble early in the season with Texas. So I've never been able to gauge what kind of defender she is because she always picks up that quick two, and then you just don't see her for stretches of minutes at a time. So I'm very curious to see if Texas can, because they want to be a Final Four team, right?
Right.
Can they defensively match something that a TCU can, that a Baylor can, that teams that want to aspire to get to the Final Four may get in the way of Texas.
Right. And with their win over Duke, what did you
Mhm.
see or hear about in that game? I know there were so many games on at one time. I don't know if you saw it or
Yeah.
not, but what was it about that game that really gave Baylor the edge in that one?
It was their defense, and it was their ability to hold Duke to one shot, and the
Yeah.
shots for the Blue Devils just were not falling.
They were
It
good
was one
shot.
of their worst. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of their worst shooting days, and I actually felt bad for the players because I thought, "Oh, Kara, that film session is going to be brutal with Coach Lawson because everything will have a circle around it. We'll stop, we'll review this and that,
Right.
and we can't do this because that's not the standard, right? They came
Right.
out and they didn't play the standard of Duke women's basketball. So I
Right.
know Sarah Lawson, in the Pat Summit lineage, is going to course correct, just like Shay Ralph in the UConn coaching tree at Vanderbilt. The
Yes.
way that she can coach a special player like Michaela Blake's,
Yes.
she
Ooh, I love.
understands it because she lived with it, right? At UConn, she knows what that looks like.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
there's just so many exciting teams that have stumbled early,
Right.
but now is the time to stumble, right?
Yeah.
It's
I rather.
okay to lose in November. It's way better to lose now than it is to lose an ACC conference game or in the ACC tournament. You certainly can't lose in March. So, yeah, I think it just drives me nuts that we have a preseason poll when we haven't seen anybody play. I would like there to be no poll, let people play, and then make the poll, right?
Yeah.
Because then we'll have a sense of, okay, because
Mhm.
Baylor probably should have gotten more shine.
Right.
And then, they come up with the big we play win. And it's like, okay, well, maybe Baylor should have started out higher. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, it's really difficult. I mean, as a voter, I know it's tough at the beginning and it's tough at the end because at the end everyone's beating one another. So then it's
Right.
like it's tough to move those pieces and shift one higher than the other because they had beaten somebody, but then they lost, right?
Right.
To some at the bottom echelon of the top 25. So now I'm like, do I move them down? It's just it's tougher at the end. And at the beginning, some teams aren't playing tough non-conference teams. So it's like,
I
okay,
giggle because you say that, and I think of LSU's "Let's play the Sisters of the Poor" again.
hey, hey, everybody has their own way and they get ready the way they need to get ready. And hey,
Right?
everybody has their own thing. But for
Yep.
me, I'm like, I'm looking at that like, okay, you beat them, but then you have Baylor at number 17 taking down
Yeah.
number 7 team in
Yeah.
the so do I jump them 10 spots? Because you know
Hey.
what I mean? Because it's tough at the beginning and you
Yeah.
want to be fair and that's the main thing, but it also has to make sense when I look at it. I'm like, I
Oh, for
can't
sure.
move them up from 17 to 16
Yeah.
because the other teams aren't playing anybody. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm giving them more credit. So you're talking about maybe they needed to start higher. I'm gonna go
Right.
ahead and push them up there because you did what you needed to do and you beat
Yeah.
a top 10 team. So
Yeah.
it's really quite a formula to come up with, and it's pretty dynamic, especially for me because I'm gonna comb through it with the fine tooth comb with a
Oh,
rat
yeah.
and everything to get the edges down. I'm gonna I'm gonna go through it.
You can
But
have your brush with all of the combs attached.
oh, you saw, see, bam, see there it is. Look at the end. Anyway, but but with that, it's really tough because you wanna have the respect, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, and when you're looking at it, I look at it like if I'm coaching that team, you know, hey, we just beat this team. You only moved us up one. That's what I would be thinking.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know if I'd be looking at the numbers like that anyway. But at the same time, I want to give respect where respect is due, and it's tough,
Mhm.
and not everyone's playing the same caliber of competition
For
out of the
sure.
gate.
I mean, and I didn't mean to, like, diss LSU. I get what
No,
Kim
no, no.
Mulkey is
You're
doing.
not the
She
only.
wants to install offense and get our players used to one another. There's a lot of moving parts. University of Arizona, new head coach Becky Burke has
Yes.
scheduled her entire non-conference slate at home. They will not leave Tucson,
Wow.
Arizona for the entire non-conference slate. And it's all about building team chemistry, creating
Well,
connectivity, and they've started out 2-0. So far so good. So yeah, every coach has a different mentality. Then you go to Corey Close, who's like, I want to know exactly where we are. I
mm,
want to sharpen my iron against the best iron that will take this game
absolutely.
because the goal for the Bruins is Final Four or bust, and
Yeah.
to cut down the nets because they got a taste last year. They know what it's like. And now with what is it, 7 seniors on the roster,
Yeah.
all of the leadership is in place. You have a player of the year candidate in Lauren Betts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gianna Neepkins is
Okay.
going to make so much
Yeah.
noise. Oh my.
Yeah.
She was putting up Caitlin Clark like numbers before she got hurt at Utah.
Yeah.
Um, she is a walking bucket.
Yeah. So you can put it in the basket for sure. And
Mhm.
I think it is. When you're out and about traveling, I know that you plug in your phone for directions and you have like four different ways you can go, right?
Yeah,
But you
yeah,
end the same destination. But some
yes.
people take a different way, and that's fine. Everybody has their own way, to get it done for their respective team. So
Mhm.
no shade or disrespect to anybody in that. So
Mhm.
that's
Well,
how you
and that
connect.
point, Gino has to schedule tough in the non-conference because typically his conference slate just hasn't been as tough. It hasn't
Exactly.
been as
Right.
challenging. So he has the onus of
Right.
scheduling very hard in non-conference
True.
so he can have the numbers and the net and all of that stuff when it comes to being ranked and getting
Yeah.
a number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, and you can say that for a lot of different conferences, like the A10, with Richmond
Mhm.
and
Yep.
their ability to beat Georgia Tech in the first round last year.
Yeah.
And, they just need the opportunity to advance
Yes.
to get
Yes.
themselves there. So, yeah, I think it's very interesting to see how teams battle in the non-conference portion for sure. But I think when you're looking at a team like South Carolina, they're going to
Mhm.
face USC, in the battle of
Yeah.
the that's what I love about that game right there. But I think that one's going to be very interesting and intriguing. What do you see in that matchup that's right around the corner here?
I think this might be the first instance where we feel the injuries already for South Carolina, and that's unfortunate,
I
but
know. I
so
hate
much
it.
size and so much experience just
Mhm.
not available now,
I
and I think that'll look different, but, Tania Latson doesn't care. She went there to win,
Yeah.
so she's going to be a problem, and I'm very curious. It's definitely gonna be the most athletic team that USC has faced to this point, so what does that look like for Lindsay Gottlieb's group? And I
Okay.
to your point, I love the, "No, we're USC. No, we're USC." So
HU and Howard and Hampton. I'm telling you, nobody wants to use.
yes,
It's the
yeah,
HU. But yeah, I think it's going to be really fun to watch. I mean, and I think, and not just the personnel against personnel.
mhm,
I want to see the inner workings of Dawn Staley and Lindsay Gottlieb against
yes,
one another, just head to head combat, and
yes.
how they counter one another and make the
Yeah,
adjustments in game, and what that looks like. I'm
yeah,
very intrigued in that regard. I just love that.
yeah. This is
Belly
a
up.
game where I love to watch the coaches. I need an ISO cam for the coaches, right? We need to
Yeah.
see how swaggy Don Staley is. Does she bring her dog to the arena? All of those things. And then you and I had USC last year a couple of times in Palm Springs, and we got to see Lindsay Gottlieb under a little bit of duress, right? The hair was down, then the hair went up into the ponytail when things were going sideways, then it came back down.
Yeah, in a bunch,
It's
yeah,
fun.
actually,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
yeah, things are going on. But yeah, but I love that, and I know it's gonna be Louis Vuitton Dawn. Yes, Dawn,
Oh,
gonna
you
have
know
it.
it.
That's what she
Woo!
does, and I love that. I love it.
I
I
do
love it.
too. She's like, "Listen, I wanna look
Out here,
rich."
yeah, I'm out here.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
no, it's gonna be fun. But I think basketball wise, I think it's going to be very intriguing to see how they respectively choose to attack the other, right? And offensively and defensively, not just what are you going to do defensively to stop this team? No, what are they going to do to apply pressure
Right.
offensively? Are you going to have those push ahead passes to really put pressure on the defensive transition, right? Are you
Mhm.
going to get the glass work to be able to push the tempo like you want to?
Mhm.
Obviously, missing Chloe Kitts in that regard in the open floor. Golly, man, I'm just still bummed about her injury
Yeah.
and being out, but she's going to get through it. But that obviously changes their rotation and depth, but I
Mm.
don't think it changes their philosophy. The
No.
same way the philosophy doesn't change for USC with Juju
Yeah.
being out. and the way that they have presented themselves on the floor. So I think it's going to be a wildly exciting, schematic festival and that we're going to have
Yes.
our eyes on and have fun with that.
Yeah.
That's going to
Really
be
appreciate these coaches scheduling so tenaciously. It's so entertaining because it just gets you excited for the regular season. Because then you don't want your team to stub its toe, right? But then that just makes every conference game so much bigger, and then, we look forward to selection Sunday and Monday and all of that, and,
right.
just everybody getting ready to join me here in the desert in the
How about
first weekend of April.
I have to come see you? Anyway, but
Yes.
listen,
Yes.
but for real, I think when you are, when you're coaching and you want to figure out different ways to win, because every
Mhm.
game that you win, they're not won the same way. So I
No.
think that's what the non-conference portion of the season is about, just to try
Yep.
to figure what is the best for this team and like, oh, I didn't know we could win that way. I know I felt that way a couple times, like, oh, I didn't know we could
Mhm.
apply that, and that would be what changed the tide of the game. And then
Right.
if you don't win the game, right? It's like, okay, how do we not have that happen again? What do they do to get us out of what we want it to do? And then you try to fix it. So you win and you learn. That's how I always said it. Like I mean, I know you lose, whatever, but you have
Mhm.
to you learn in winning as well, but you
Yeah.
also in obviously in losing. So I think you
Mhm.
win and you learn, but I think this is the portion of the season where you're really trying to throw everything to the wall, right?
Yeah.
Spaghetti noodles, see if it sticks, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna
See what rotations work, which ones don't, who's better defensively, and you're also adjusting to the officiating, right? The
all of it.
mandate this season is so clear. I have heard so many whistles blow early in the first couple of games that I have done. Player movement, sportsmanship is
Yeah.
a biggie. Like, no, no talking smack to the other bench if you make a three right in front of them. Like, it's
And
kind of
that,
crazy.
like not
Yeah,
even motion thing. Even if you
right.
don't say anything, if you do
Yeah,
that, you're
and
getting
I don't think anybody's trying to be dismissive with that or a diss. You got to be able to talk a little smack. So I've been a little disheartened by that, but the officiating crews have been given their marching orders, and they are paying attention to that, to the letter of the law, and
yeah.
then what happens down in the post as well. Really
Right.
watching the play, yeah. So,
Yeah. I think that's what the physicality down there. I think that's going to be some
mhm.
definitely this year, and the 3 feet around the lane line. That's what was
Yep,
explained to us, right? 3 feet
yep,
outside the lane line, you're considered a post player if you have your back to
mhm.
the basket, and as soon as you face up, it's you got to make sure that the rules change in that way because then now you're a perimeter
Yeah,
style player. So it's just all different, but also with the appeals this year in women's
yeah,
basketball. That is something that's totally different as well. So that's going to be intriguing to see if coaches are willing to risk a timeout being
mhm.
lost. If they lose their appeal. On the men's side, it's a challenge, but on the women's side, it's an appeal.
Right.
The verbiage is a little different, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how strategic teams are with utilizing those.
Mhm.
Uh, I
I've
don't know.
seen it employed when it came to, was that somebody's 5th foul? I
Yeah,
saw it employed right away,
yeah,
and a challenge or an appeal was won. So, yeah, I think for sure that can be an instance where if fouls are racking up and you see a star player in danger of fouling out, that a coach will definitely say, "Let's review."
yeah. I mean, that's a game changer for sure. I don't know. I was very judicious with my timeouts as a coach. I said I need 3 in my pocket. I was not going to be burning up timeouts. I'm like, y'all better find a window and relocate if we're getting blitzed. I'm not saving you.
Okay,
Sometimes I had to, but I didn't want to do it. So with
right.
these appeals, I don't know if I would be just throwing them out there like Oprah. You get an appeal. You get an appeal. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would have been able
You giving out cars like
to
Oprah.
throw them out. I don't know if I would be that, that
Right?
ju- I don't know. Who knows? But I know I always wanted some in my back pocket, because you never know when the momentum changes in a game, and I just never wanted to be without
Right.
one or two.
I get that. I get that.
I was like, nope. we're not. Foul. If someone's shooting a free throw, I'm like, come over here. We're doing this, that, and the other thing. That's the mini timeout. I wasn't calling a whole timeout for a tiny adjustment. But these appeals, I think it's going to be really fun to watch to see how coaches utilize it or not, right? Because I think
Right.
some will be very, push every chip to the middle of the table, and some will be like, well, I'm gonna hold back. I think I'd be more on the hold back side, and an emergency instance, like what you said with the 5 fouls,
Mhm.
maybe I go ahead and Skylar
Yeah,
Diggins it,
yeah, yeah,
wind it
yeah.
up.
Give that little signal. Let's whirl.
Get it going.
You are on the call. You're in stores. You
Yes.
will get a look at
Yeah.
Connecticut. What are your expectations for the game? And a reminder that everybody can see it on True TV and HBO Max.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's going to be really fun to see how UConn continues to play great defense. And like I said, against Louisville in the second half, they had to really implore all of their energy to get
Mhm.
lifted as they were kind of getting blitzed there
Yep.
offensively by Louisville in the open court. And I think they were outscored in that second half. Or close to being outscored in that second half because of that run, but they were able to put the stops in that. So I want to see what they do defensively. I want to see, that carry over. I want to see offensively how
Mhm.
Sarah Strong gets going early. I think
Yep.
that's going to be something that's a major point of emphasis. But they're playing Loyola Chicago,
Mhm.
and I think this is a team that likes to push pace. This is a team that likes to turn teams over.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that, UConn or you guys take good care of the basketball. I know Louisville, that's how they got their run going because they got some turnovers. But I think it's going to be another test, to see how they can sustain their focus. And I want to
Mhm.
see KK Arnold at the point guard spot. I want to see how she comes down and maybe presses the floor down like, okay, you go over there, you go over here, and let's get
Mhm.
with it, and
Right.
let's rock out. I think that's what I'm really looking to see. But I also want to see Sarah Williams inside, right? I want
Yeah.
to see it with my eyes. I've seen them on TV. I want to
Yes.
look and hear and see
I'm
all
telling you,
the
you
work.
are going to be impressed. She
I love
is
her. Yeah,
special.
yeah. And I remember her as a freshman. I mean, her ability to block shots and not touch a body, like
Yeah,
as
like
a freshman,
Asia. Asia
amazing.
does that, right?
Yeah,
Asia can be a half
yeah,
a step and a half away from somebody and still get into them, but not touch them and
yeah,
block the shot. That's
yeah.
what Sarah Williams does too.
Yeah, no, she was tremendous, and even as a freshman at Wisconsin in the Big Ten, I mean, she was
Mhm,
leading the conference in blocks, so with
mhm,
almost two and a half a game. So I mean, I want to see the compliment that she is to Sarah Strong in that way, to take a
mhm.
lot of pressure off of her. I know she's not going to be a double and triple teamed, and that's something that Sarah Williams has said, that
Yeah,
she's trying to get a better rhythm because now she's not seeing as many bodies because everyone else out there can shoot it.
yeah,
AZ out there, you got
mhm,
Ashley Shade out there, you got KK driving and spraying out, and you have
yep,
Sarah Strong who's knocking
mhm,
in almost 40% of her threes. So I mean, she has free space, and I think
yeah,
that's something to get acclimated to as a player who drew so many defenders in her area, right? When she
mhm,
was at Wisconsin, and that's not going to happen here. So I'm going to see
yeah,
what that looks like as well, and how Loyola Chicago chooses to defend this team. We saw Louisville do some zone, mixed it up a little bit, went back to man to man. So I just want to see the adjustments. I'm always intrigued by, the back and forth of the adjustments within a game. So I want to
mm,
see what Loyola comes out with because they watch film and this is what we think will work. So it's going to be the first thing they do on defense is their first choice. And then if
right,
that's not working, I'm going to see, plan B and C, right? Because
yeah,
every coach has, an alphabet
right, yeah,
of right. So, it's like holes
yeah.
in the boat, I always say.
Well,
It's
we
like
know the coverage is gonna be top tier. JB Long is
uh,
your play-by-play. You're
yes,
on the call as the analyst, and Autumn Johnson, reporter
oh,
extraordinaire for the NCAAW, is on
yeah.
the sidelines, so it'll be a good group.
Yes, baby. I'm super excited. The shoot arounds and everything. This is my first college game. I've done some NBA stuff, but I haven't done
Right.
college. This is my first college game, so it's like I got my knee bouncing right here, and
Oh, yeah.
It's like
This is like Christmas. The first game for me is always like, "Oh my gosh, this is so exciting."
no, I'm thrilled for it. Can't wait to be in the building. It's always great energy in there.
Yeah.
Gino, he recruited me back in the day
Yep.
when he was at Virginia. I don't know, so I've known him like for 100 years. So it's always great to see him. And then Az, the connection I already said when she was a little baby. So it's just really fun, just full circle moment. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hoops. I just want to get in the gym. I wish the practices were earlier so I could go to the gym earlier. But I'll be in there though. I'll be in there though, and
I'm
I'll
sure
be
the players appreciate that they're not at the crack of dawn as much as you would like to be there.
too bad for me. Too bad for me. They got the lattes over here. I just take me a latte. It is a little chilly. It is a little chilly, but I'm
Ooh,
ready to get in the gym, and I want to see them hoop. So I think it's going to be a really good showing
yeah.
as they gear up for more non-conference competition and throughout the country. So many more great games on the docket, and I know
Mhm.
what's your next game coming up.
I am off until Sunday when Grambling State comes to Tucson. Second year in a row that that group has traveled to Tucson. So I'm very excited to see what they look like, to
Yeah.
make sure that Arizona can keep the momentum going. This is the longest gap that they've had between games. It's still game three, but a huge effort to get game number two in the victory column. A kid named Mickey Purdue transferred in from the Horizon League at Cleveland State, and
Okay.
she has never met a shot she doesn't like. She is a shooter. And when I tell you, she was so deep in her Birkin. Oh my gosh. And for me, Christy, I don't know how you evaluate college players, but when I get the sense that they might be able to play at the next level,
Oh yeah.
I need to see a lot of scoring in a hurry. And I track how many points they can score in a quarter. And already this season, Mickey has had a pair of 14-point quarters. Like
Wow.
she can light it up.
14.
So, and that trigger is quick. Like it's in her hands, it's out of her hands. Like boom. So yeah, Arizona's they got the new regime with Becky Burke and her era. Her slogan is bear down, which is the university deal, and then sleeves up. We're rolling up our sleeves, we're getting to work, we're building something new here. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Bear down and sleeves up. No, I like that.
Yes.
But I guess the way I gauge a player who I think has potential to be at the next level, are you
Mhm.
consistent? I mean,
Yes.
like if you can do it on a Monday, do it every other day too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like don't pop up and then fade away. Like
Yeah.
pop up and then you stay right there. And you're
Yeah.
you're getting all the same kind of defense is coming to you. They're trying to take you out and it doesn't matter. That's
Yeah.
how I know that a player is ready to be challenged a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
anyone doing
100%.
at that level is disrupting you and you're
Yeah.
consistent and you're just boom, you're there every time. No
Yeah.
excuses. No lateness, no hesitations. I
Mhm.
that's what I'm for. Just go and
Yeah.
play free and play
Yeah.
organic and play with the love of the game in your heart. I think that's what makes a big
100.
difference, right? So
Yeah,
that
I'm super excited for next week, at Arizona on the 21st. It
okay.
is going to be Aerie McDonald night. They are
Oh,
bringing her back to celebrate her, so
is it
super
is
excited
it
about
jersey?
that.
Is it her jersey?
Uh, she's already in the rafters as a celebrated player, so they can't do that per
Okay.
se, but
Okay.
they've got the Indiana Fever, Stranger Things jersey with
Okay.
a Arizona look and, that whole deal. So, yeah, it's just gonna be really special. So,
Yeah. Yeah, how about what she did with the Fever, man, and Steph White and all that? Man, that's
right?
amazing. Yeah, oh, I love that. So you see her squeeze her for me. She's a great kid. I love
Oh,
her.
of course, of course.
Super fun. But what was also super fun was getting to chop it up with you right here, Cindy. Anything else you
Yeah.
have to say or want to share before we bounce on out of here?
Just a shout out to everybody that continues to watch. You are the reason why we have the variety of networks and opportunities to work and bring you these games, whether it's on NBC Peacock or TNT and their family of networks or ESPN and their family of networks. Like the games are easier to find because as fans, you have demanded them to be. And we are grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the game is the star. The game will remain the star, and I
Mhm.
love that for us. And I'm speaking for everyone who loves the game and watches
Mhm.
the game for the pure love that it creates, and the unified attack of both teams, and the competitiveness and the love is always there. So for me, it's always going to be the best thing about the game. So, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I could go on and on about the love of the game. We got to get off here because I'm sure
I
there's some
know.
night. But safe travels to you, and
Mhm.
all the love, and hopefully we see each other sooner than later, my dear friend
Yeah.
Cindy
Well, I'll
Brunson.
definitely see you before the new year, right? The Georgetown
I hope
game?
I
I
hope so.
think.
We
Yeah,
gotta figure
yeah.
some some calendar dates. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, we gotta swap. We gotta swap.
we gotta
Yeah, that's when my Big East stuff starts, so yeah,
okay.
we'll be
So I'm gonna bump you in there in the gym. I'm gonna run up behind you and grab you. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely there. But no, super fun. Can't wait for more games on the horizon here. But thank you
Mhm.
guys again for watching. The game is the star, another star right there. Cindy Brunson, thank you so much. I'm Christy Winters Scott on the Her Hoop Stats podcast. BMAC, the producer extraordinaire. Thank you, my friend, for everything.
Mhm.
We'll see you next time right here on the Her Hoop Stats podcast network. Until next time, bye bye.